Hey guys, Funny Guy Timmy here. Going to be answering some questions from a subscriber named Shunders. I believe that's how it's said. He's not the only person to ask these questions, but he asked them recently, and so I decided to do a big video on them. Now, there are multiple questions involving programs, normalizing, EQing, compression, stuff like that. So I'm just going to answer all of them in one question as best I could. Now, the first question was, what DAW do I use, which is Digital Audio Workstation? I use two. For my computer, obviously, I use Audacity. I have tried using other programs like Reaper, Adobe Audition, stuff like that. I've tinkered with a lot of other programs, but I keep coming back to Audacity because it seems to be the easiest for me to use. I mean, I don't use a lot of special effects. Any client that I work with that wants any kind of special treatment to the voice, they normally do it themselves, so I normally don't have to do that. So I just use Audacity. It's free, and it actually is really good EQing, cleanup, compression, and stuff like that if you know how to use it. So that's what I'm going to be showing you. The second DAW, or digital audio workstation, that I use is, I talk about it a lot, is Twisted Wave on my phone. Those are basically it. Twisted Wave I use on the road, and Audacity I use in my studio. They basically are the same. They're basically the same program for the most part. If you know how to use them, they have the exact same features, exact same functions. They pretty much work exactly the same. The only difference is Twisted Wave, you do have to buy certain extra features on Twisted Wave, as opposed to Audacity, which is 100% free. All right, so those are the ones that I use, and those are the ones that I recommend. Now on to the next group of questions, which is, what is the difference between normalizing and compressing? Which is an absolutely fantastic question, because even when I started out, it was very confusing. Normalizing basically just means that you're going to bring the high points of the volume up, and then compression means you're going to basically balance everything out. So we're going to record a little bit of audio, and then I'm going to show you what I do to my voice in my studio with my mic to clean it up. And the reason I say all that is because if you were to use the program, you wouldn't be using it exactly the same. Your mic, your studio, your setup, your preamp is going to be different. So you're going to be using different settings. So don't pay attention to the settings as much as just the effects that I'll be using. Testing 1 2 3. 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 All right. Now I did some different takes. That first one, of course, the first one of both. So the first and third one, of course, exceeded the boundaries. They peaked. This one's probably still very good, and this one's the best one out of all of them. But it does give me some opportunity to show you what normalizing and what compression do. So I'm going to get rid of this right here, and I'm going to get rid of that right there because I don't need either of those. So this is all I'm going to be working with. All right. So, all right. Now we're looking at, let's say I was doing a jingle, for a commercial or whatever, or I was doing a character voice, and I did multiple takes. That's what I do. I always do multiple takes. So I have the 4 takes that I'm going to be using. Let's say I deleted all the bad takes. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to subtract the noise from these takes, just in case there's any underground hit. No matter how good the mic is, no matter how good the preamp is, you're always going to get some kind of noise. Now, for the most part, most of it, like if it's a really good preamp and it is a really good mic, you can probably get away with not touching it at all because it'll probably be too quiet for the human ear to even hear. But for the most part, on anything lower than $1,000 budget, you're going to get some noise, guaranteed. Whether it's a little, whether it's a lot, you're going to get some noise. So, and just to show you what I did as far as like deleting, I just clicked, dragged, and hit delete. That's it. It's really simple. Just wanted to cover that. So now I'm going to go into effects. So I've selected an area that doesn't have any talking. It's just silence. Now I'm going to go in and I clicked effects, and this is all of the effects and all the tools in here. There's a little bit more, but a lot of these down here I don't even bother with. I really don't mess with them. Especially vocal removal. Go back. Thank you. Especially vocal removal. I don't use that at all. All right, so now first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to noise, and we're going to select, and this is what that tool comes up with. And we're going to click this big first button. It's going to say Get Noise Profile. So what that's going to do is it's going to look at the area that we've selected. It's going to identify, okay, this is what you're trying to remove. So we're going to do that. It's going to close it. And now we're going to bring it back up again. And so now, again, this is my studio. This is my mic. This is my preamp. So these are the presets that I always work with. These are the ones that I've tinkered with for a while, and they work for me every time, so I don't even mess with them anymore. So these are my settings. For you, your mic, your setup, completely different. Just basically tinker with it, practice until you find the one that gives you the best noise cancellation without distorting your voice. It's a very fine line. So we're going to click OK. Oh, whoop, I almost made a mistake. Okay, before I do that, I need to double click the entire audio. It was about to just cancel the audio or cancel the noise in the area that I selected. So I'm going to double click. I'm going to select the whole thing. Now I can go in and do noise reduction. Sorry, almost skipped that step. So I'm going to click OK. See, there was a little bit of change right there, but not a lot. So that means it barely affected the voice. All it did is it just made this area silent. So now I'm going to go in and I am going to compress, which I'm going to do that before I normalize. So what I'm going to do is basically, you see all these highest points in the audio and all the lowest points in the audio? This right here and like that right there. It's going to bring them a little bit closer together. Not too much. Basically enough that it doesn't distort, and it's easier to listen to. Every part of the dialogue is going to be clear. And again, these are my presets. This is basically what I work with every time. This just works for my room and my mic and my voice. I'm going to click OK. All right, now, that first one right there. Did you notice anything? It compressed it way too much. This is one of the minor flaws that I have with Audacity, that what it does is it compress. I don't know why. I've looked it up. I have no idea why this happens. But the first few seconds of your audio always gets compressed way too much. And that track is now completely unusable if we were to listen to it. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. See how it started out way too quiet and then got way too loud in the technically quieter parts? So what we're going to do is we're going to undo this by Control-Z. Put everything back to normal. Now, if I wanted to keep that take, let's say I wanted to keep that take, I can copy, click all the way to the beginning, paste, delete this, which now merges the two, and I'm going to do the exact same thing over again, boop, and then grab this, and then delete. So now I have compressed all 4 takes without any distortion. That's just how I've been having to deal with it. That's just how I've been having to just work around that. But I'm going to do something else real quick. Okay. All right, now I'm going to combine these two. I did this so I could show you guys the difference. So this is uncompressed, very high peaks, very low lows. And look over here, way more balanced out. So the take that we liked, we now like even more. So we'll barely be able to hear it. Testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. So now everything's a little bit more even. It's easier to listen to. Instead of like one part being louder and the other part being quieter, now it's just way easier to listen to. So now you can see how much of a difference it made. Now I could have changed the settings and I could have brought these peaks way closer and these low points way higher, but I didn't want to do that. I don't want to distort it too much. So I'm going to delete that now. So I'm going to go back in, zoom back in. Boop, 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 boop. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is now I'm going to normalize. And what normalizing does is it just takes the entire thing and brings the volume down. I always set it to -3 dB. What that is that the highest point of the audio, which is going to be the one all the way to the left, is going to be set 3 dB lower, which is basically just notches of volume. That's probably the easiest way of explaining that. So I'm going to do that. And now, so this has now been set to -3 dB. I don't know if you can zoom in, but so now if they were to play this, if the client that I sent this to was to play this, none of the audio would be distorted while they're listening to it. None of it would be too loud. Testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. All right. So now again, so we have a whole bunch of takes that are usable. But I'm really only going to be working with these two right now. Now that I've shown you compression and now that I've shown you normalizing and noise cancellation, I'm going to show you 1 or 2 more things. I'm going to delete these. So I'm going to go back in and normalize again. All right, so these are the ones that we're going to be working with. These are both basically the same audio. These are basically both the exact same. They weren't distorted, sound pretty good. They compressed very similarly, except for this one trails off. This one trails off a little bit more. See how this one right here is a little bit louder than this one? If you notice when I recorded it, I kind of backed away. I wanted to show how to fix that, kind of. So I'm going to double click again. So now I'm going to EQ it. Equalize, which equalize is more complicated than compression. It's basically compression with very specific frequencies. Within different hertz or kilohertz, it raises and lowers. And again, this is my setting for my voice, for my space. Considering I have a very sibilant voice, I try to get rid of some of that higher end, kind of smoothing it out right over here. And I don't want the room to sound boxy because it is a rather small room. I'm touching both walls right now. So it is going to have kind of a lower bass, it's going to have more bass in it because it is a smaller space. There isn't necessarily echo, but there is the low rumble bouncing back at me too quickly. So again, I have the lower end kind of drop off. Also, if there was any noise outside, like a car too loud or someone's got their speaker up way too much or there's neighbors walking around or talking, this will also help cancel some of that out a little bit better. So, again, these are my presets. Your voice, your space, completely different. All right, it changed it just a little bit, so I'm going to Control Z so you can see what it did. And then I'm going to redo that again. Redo. Boop. So I didn't change it too much because for the most part, the audio was Good. It was completely usable. I'm going to normalize it again, so everything is still at -3. All right, so we have this one. Testing 1, 2, 3, testing 1, 2, 3. Good. That track right there, if that was what the client wanted, I'd send that one out. But let's listen to this one. Testing 1, 2, 3, testing 1, 2, 3. All right, see how I just basically just start dropping off really quickly. Let's say you want to keep that take. This take is no good. You want to keep this one. In Audacity, there is a way of fixing that. There's a way of bringing specific volume up without touching anything, and that's going to be this tool. It's envelope tool. I don't know why it's called envelope, but what it's going to do is we are going to change the volume on some of this. So I'm going to bring this down, and I am going to bring this up, but this one is going to go way up, really close. Okay. Let me just bring that one back up. That one's fine. All right. So now what I've done is I've manually EQ'd or compressed. I've taken the loudest part, I've made it quieter manually, I've kind of smoothened it out, and then I took the quietest part and made those even louder. I think I can actually do even more over here. Can I? Come on, let me do it. It won't let me do it. Okay. I don't know why, but it won't let me exceed the ceiling. So now we're gonna listen to it. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Now I don't like that the higher frequencies of my voice drop off again because I'm facing away from the mic. So really, all you're getting is the bass. If I wanted to fix that again, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. I can go back into EQ. Make sure this is all saved. Give me a second. All right, so now I've flattened it. I made sure that my presets were saved. So I'm going to go in here, and from this point to like this point, we're going to give it a little bit of a boost. Smoothing it out. Don't want it to be too sharp. All right, so we're going to listen to it, do a little preview. 2, 3, testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, that is way too much. Man, it sounded very unnatural. Bring that down, bring that down. 2, 3, testing 1, 2, 3. A little bit less. Two, 3, testing 1, 2, 3. All right, click OK. All right, and now it should sound a little bit more balanced. Testing 1, 2, 3, testing 1, 2, 3. And there you go. So now I have 2 takes that are usable. One that I had to fix a lot, and then the other one, your goal is to get the audio file to be basically good one take. Like it needs to be. That's why you do multiple takes. So you have one that's good that you need to do as little effects as possible. But let's say there was something wrong. There was some distortion in that one. There was a pop or a click because of digital interference. Maybe your phone went off. Maybe there was someone making noise in the background that you didn't pay attention to until after the fact. You could fix the audio this way. Testing 1, 2, 3, testing 1, 2, 3. Sounds good. Testing 1, 2, 3, testing 1, 2, 3. If it was for, now, all honesty, if it was for a client that wasn't paying me nearly as much, let's say it was for just a low-end, low-budget YouTube video, I might send that one. But if it's a higher-paying client, personally, I would just re-record it. If I had to do that much editing to it to fix it, I would just re-record it. However, if this is for YouTube, if you're doing it for yourself, for YouTube, and you just didn't want to, you were on a deadline, you didn't want to record it again, that's something that you could do to fix it, to make it better. A lot of work, but doable. All right, and there you go. That is how to use Audacity. That is normalizing, EQing, compression, and a little extra tweaking to the audio, as well as noise cancellation. So that is how I use it. This is a program that I use every day. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comment section below. If you'd like to see me do a similar video on Twisted Wave, also leave that in the comment section below. And until next time, peace.